Okay, now I got a screen share.
And we represent just part of.
All right, so you should be seeing, okay, yep, WACS News.
I am in, I'm in this
Slideshow.
class, in this cohort, and they're in the
From
other cohort, so they're at home. We basically both classes
Okay,
share the same
so
responsibility.
this is WACS News, and we are members of WACS News. We all hold different roles, and we'll get into that later. But this year, our slogan actually changed. It used to be, I don't remember what it used to be, but now it's keeping Alden connected. This year, we've definitely tried to take more of an approach about being within the community more.
Producer, website designer, editors, and reporters. Like a higher end. We operate on sort of a semi-strict time.
Oh boy.
To get things done.
For some reason, I won't go to the next slide. Here,
Tyler,
we can just.
what are you for your class?
Exit, and then we can just do it this way. That's okay. Okay. So what is WACS News? It's a high school news organization, and it encourages creativity, the use of technology, and journalistic approaches to telling stories to the Alden community.
I'll just show you
It is a multimedia class that's offered for 2 years. So most of the time, students will do it when they're juniors and seniors. But if you want to start your sophomore year, like personally I did, you can do a work-based learning internship your senior year, which is what I plan to do. And then there's sports reporting and editing, and news reporting and editing. Social media, which is what Sophie and I do. Producing, there's executive producers, and there's digital editors that take care of the website. So these are our two WACS News teams. This is on days 2 and 4, we have it block 3. And then on days 1 and 3, these people have it on block 2. So here are the WACS News students that you are conferencing with today. So I am Rihanna Trika, and I'm the social media manager here in WACS News. So pretty much my day consists of posting on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Sophie does the Snapchat. And each week we kind of organize the events and things that we're having to put out. And I also do a news story once a month. So I also create videos, and I have them out once a month instead of the reporters and editors. They usually get 2 out a month. And then here's Sophie.
Okay, I'm Sophie, and my title is social media editor. So I work with Ray on Instagram, Twitter, and then I also do the Snapchat. So we cover that, and then I also create a video monthly, a news story. So that's pretty much it.
And then Nathan.
I'm Nate Turnbull. This is my first year in WACS News. I'm kind of a news reporter. I get assigned different stories to cover, and I make videos on them and post them on YouTube. So I'm just learning this year.
Yeah, sounds good. And then here's Lawson.
My name's Lawson Rebeck. This is my first year in WACS News. The title I have is digital editor, which means that I work on the website as well as I have some videos that I have to do as well.
Yes. And then we have Andy with us today.
Hi, my name is Andrew Frieds. My title is here, and that's just because I was just asked to come down here and learn as much as I can from people who have experience in the professional field of news reporting.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Atlas team, which is our student-run technology support team, and we're looking to expand our coverage on how to do things with the computer, so this would be a great way to learn some new techniques for things like that.
Yes, thank you, Andy. And so pretty much we're very thankful that you're meeting with us today, and we cannot wait to hear about your experiences and gain some knowledge from you.
Awesome. Well done. That was a good presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate the intro to everyone.
Thank you. All right, I will stop screen sharing now.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll do my best to kind of give you guys some background about myself first. I don't know how much you guys know. You might know a little bit. I heard like you kind of researching some questions and stuff.
Yes.
But, you know, I'm from the Buffalo area. I grew up here. I went to St. John Fisher College in Rochester, New York. And while I was there, you know, after seeing your presentation, I think it's good to mention to you guys, I was on the campus newspaper. And it was very similar to what you guys are doing. I kind of started as a news reporter, and then eventually I was an editor. I was a sports editor, and then the online editor. And around that time, when I was the online editor, social media was like kind of just starting to get more popular. It wasn't as popular as it is today, like when I was in school, but it was starting to get more popular. So we were kind of just like dipping our toes in it. But then I decided to go to graduate school at DePaul University in Chicago, where I was also involved in the campus newspaper there. That one was called the DePaulia. And there I was the online editor, where I ran like the Twitter account for the DePaul campus newspaper. So that was a great experience. So a lot of similar type experiences to you guys. And then at that time, I started a blog called Breaking Tweets that kind of got me started in my career. And I actually thought I would just put this on the screen for a second to show you guys something that I did. Yeah, because as I was listening, I'm like, I think you guys would be interested in this.
We're interested in anything.
Great. So as I said, I was living in Chicago at the time. So I wrote this blog post about the experience. And I'm not going to read every single word, but I'm just going to scan through a couple highlights for you guys.
Yeah.
So I started it was all the way back in 2009. It seems like forever ago. When I saw that there was a Hudson plane crash and Barack Obama was being inaugurated president. And around that time, I thought Twitter was a really powerful source of news. So I decided to create a blog that I would basically cover breaking news that happened on Twitter. And you guys can see my first couple of tweets. These are my first 3 tweets. Like they were very informal. I'm like lowercases, like it was just like, I don't know, like PPL''S. Like I was just like, a college kid just like trying something for fun.
Yeah.
And what happened was there was like an earthquake in Japan. And this gives an example. So I would cover stuff no matter where it happened in the world. So there was this earthquake, and then I have like tweets of what people are saying about the earthquake, basically was the concept.
That's really creative.
Yeah, so like it was just different, right? Kind of fun. So then if I keep going, I started to connect with people around the world. There was a journalist in Iraq, in the Middle East, who was embedded, with some of the soldiers, and he was interested in the blog. So he started to send me tips, and he started to contribute. And I think I just want to show you guys too, because it's like the power of the internet really and social media, that you can connect with anyone anywhere is like one thing I want to emphasize. Yeah. And after like not that much time, you guys can see this is a map of where I was getting traffic on my blog. And it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So I don't have to go through this whole thing, but more and more people were like recognizing the blog. Some random celebrities like Ashton Kutcher is like, I like your site. CNN thought I was actually in Australia at this time, Victoria, Australia. She's like, care to do an interview, even though I wasn't. I thought that was funny. And I even had a cartoon character say it's the only place he gets his news.
Wow.
So like it just like really blew up, and I think I even had a magazine in Japan write about it. You guys can see.
So cool.
So like
all over the world.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show you guys like kind of the potential, and then I started to get more news outlets writing to me. And like here's an example of a flood in Brazil that I had a picture. And just kind of like, especially you guys are in high school right now, so like kind of like open up your minds that it can really you can do anything with social media. It doesn't have to be, just locally. So that's why I wanted to share this. And I really quick, I just wanted to share, this was a map at the end of the blog of where I was getting traffic kind of all over the place.
That was like the whole world.
Yeah, pretty much. So I got to figure out how to stop sharing my screen now. I just wanted to show that because as I saw your presentation, I thought you guys would be interested in that. That was something I did, and it helped lead to my first full-time job because the Huffington Post, which, your teacher mentioned a few minutes ago that I had worked there, they were really impressed with the blog, and they asked if I wanted to work for them. And they said, how would you like to move to New York City? And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's what I did. And I was there for 3.5 years. And then I came back to Buffalo to work with the Buffalo Sabres, which has been my favorite team since I was a kid. Unfortunately, the Buffalo Sabres haven't been very good the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So I had some tough years running the social media. It was not easy. But I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed hanging around the rink, hanging around the guys, learning a lot of things behind the scenes, stuff you would not think about. And when you guys say you run your Twitter, Instagram, all that, someone else runs the Snapchat, I think you said. Those were the kinds of things that I was doing, yeah, for the Buffalo Sabres hockey team.
That's so
Yes, I'd be happy to talk more about that when we get to questions. But and now I'm doing how are we doing on time? I don't have a timer here.
I think we're okay. If you want to tell us a little bit more for maybe like 2 more minutes if you want.
Yeah,
But-
sounds good.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and now obviously when I was working for the Sabres, the Pagulas acquired the Buffalo Bills football team.
Mhm.
So now I've been involved also helping with the Buffalo Bills, doing digital insights, and part of that is social media still. But now I'm also doing other things like email and mobile app and some other things.
Oh, cool. That's awesome.
I would say too, I think my favorite thing about the job is the draft time because it's always exciting to get new players. I think both hockey or football, because you have these kids coming out of school and they're all bright-eyed and all excited to make it to the show. So that's always fun. And again, like these things like behind the scenes, you would never really think of all the little things that go on. I know Andrew is one of our other presenters, and I work with Andrew here. He works with the Bills. And, he'll tell you too, yeah, like there's all these little things you would never think of. So like from his perspective, he's a video editor. He needs to get the right shot. He needs to be in the right position at the right time. He needs to make sure when he edits that, everything is just perfect and lines up with the music and the sound. And it's a lot of practice, I think, over a long period of time. So the more practice you guys can get doing these things, you'll be better going forward. So I think that's good for me. I'll kind of let you guys ask some questions if you want.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you guys want me to? I can ask the first one because I have them right here. All right. So I have a question. What are some pieces of advice that you would give someone who wants to go to school for multimedia and digital journalism? Because personally, that's what I want to do. I want to go for sports communications and multimedia journalism.
That sounds great. Good for you. I definitely think you should pursue it. I think that the more well-rounded you can be with your skill set, the better. So the type of experience you're getting right now is great. Like you said, that the things that you're working on right now are huge. So keep practicing those. I don't know if you've done some video editing as well. We literally just met, so I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. No, I create one video a month.
Awesome. Yeah, so I was gonna say like a little bit of that would be great background, like especially trying to enter into the program. So no, I think you're doing the right things. I would just say keep practicing and keep working on your craft.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone who wants to go next? Sophie? Sophie has one.
Maybe I'm just trying to find a good one to start with.
Okay.
Okay, when did you start working with media, I guess, or like realizing that this is something you want to do?
Yeah. I think I realized it, really 9/11, if I can be honest, September 11th, 2001. I know you guys know what that is, what happened. You probably don't remember anything about it. But for me, like I was in high school and I saw the importance of the media and I wanted to be a journalist. I honestly think that's what started for me. But I also always loved sports. So you can see how I ended up where I did.
Yeah, like using your interest to do something that you like.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, if you can do that, it's great. So you guys should definitely try to pursue your interests.
Sounds good. Lawson, do you have any questions that you want to ask him since you're at home?
Sure. So obviously, like different social medias have different target audiences. So like, what are some things that you do to like target them, like different things you do on Instagram compared to like a Facebook or something like that?
Yeah, it's definitely true. We're always thinking about how it's different, and I think, you know, at one time we would post the same thing on every platform, but that doesn't make sense. It has to be different. I think like on Instagram, we focus a lot on Instagram story. So like the vertical format, we want to make sure if we have video that it's in the right vertical format, that it's quick, like 10 or 15 seconds. Maybe it's 1 or 2 stories, but it's quick. We don't want it to be too long. Whereas on Facebook, we might do a 2-minute video or 30 seconds or whatever, longer than Instagram story. The other thing I would say is TikTok is like a whole different beast in itself, and it is something that we do. So we're always trying to think of fun and creative ways and things that, you know, will get people's attention as quickly and get engagement. So that almost needs its own dedicated creative thinking.
That's cool. Thinking about that.
Yeah, I know. We had a WACS News TikTok last year. Like once quarantine hit, we had one just to, you know, do something more fun. But we didn't do anything with it this year. But now that you brought it up, we'll start it back up again.
Yeah, you should think about it, because like we definitely do for the Bills, and we need to get better on the Sabres TikTok, to be honest. But we know that, so we have a lot of fun with it. You guys should consider it.
Okay, cool. Sophie, we'll think about it. Nathan, do you have anything?
Yeah.
I just want to know, how often do you work with the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, well, now in my new role, I'm really split. I would say almost 50-50 between the Bills and the Sabres. So definitely very involved. I do all kinds of random things. I do like paid social media, which is like I boost the posts for the Bills and certain things that we want to do. So like when we want to sell tickets, I'll do certain things with that and hit the right target audience. And then I also do other random things, like on our website, we have banner ads. So like I help to traffic those. So like I have a lot of different like random roles, but I'm a part of like all our major campaigns and making sure we're accomplishing our goals.
That's awesome.
Just have a quick question.
Yeah, Andy.
Yeah, so I know I follow the Buffalo Bills social media account, and pretty much every day, maybe once or twice, there's a post on something. And not every day is there a football game going on. So how do you come up with those posts where, like, you create something on social media to post to get the Buffalo Bills name out there, kind of like that? Like, what's their planning steps or brainstorming process?
That is a good question.
That's a really good question. Yeah. And it's one of the most important things that we have to do is think of content when the team is not playing, and it's difficult. So we have like sometimes whole brainstorm sessions where we just sit in a room and we try to think of ideas of what are some fun things we can do when it's not a game day. We do a lot of different things. Like I'm sure you guys have seen, like when it's someone's birthday on the team, we'll wish them a happy birthday. I mean, that's like an easy one. Like, why not do that? But then I don't know, like we try to think of our partners when it makes sense. You know, like they have like these random days, like National Coffee Day or like National Pizza Day, that we try to like join in with our partners. But I think also like we know that fans like behind the scenes, they like photos, videos, they want to get to know the players' more personality. So we try to do that when we can. So yeah, I just think you definitely have to plan ahead. You can't just go into a new day and just randomly just have content. You need to like plan it in advance for stuff like that.
Is there something specific about analytics and numbers involving social media that kind of excites you? Because I know you're doing that for the Bills now.
Yeah, totally. I love doing the analytics and numbers, and that's a big reason why I kind of evolved into the role I'm in right now. That's what I wanted to do, more of the numbers. So, I mean, one thing that excites me, you guys asked about target audience before, and that thing I think is always interesting to see how when you can present the same piece of content to different target audiences and it does differently, and that tells you like when something is doing really well, it resonates with one audience, but it might not be doing well with another audience. So that part excites me because I think we're learning all the time, what type of content is what people actually want, because we don't want to post things that they're not interested in.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Do you have any stuff here?
Yeah. So I was thinking, like, obviously you've had this job for like 3 years, did you?
Yeah, 2 years in the current role, and I've been here for about 7 years with the.
Okay, so obviously you were there like before COVID hit. So how has your like day-to-day changed really?
Yeah.
with that?
Yeah, hugely changed. I mean, most days I'm working at home now, which is totally different. When I am at the office, I have my mask that I have to wear, except I'm in a separate room right now that nobody's in, so I'm okay. But as soon as I leave this room, I have to put it back on. But it's changed, not just me personally. It changed almost everything about our business, if I can be very honest with you guys. We're used to having a lot of fans in the stadium and at the venue. We have all these things for them. So we had to think of like creative new ways to reach our audience and to reach them on digital. We did a lot of new things with our app and with social media that we'd never done in the years before. So I just think it made it that much harder a little bit on us to think of new creative ways to reach our fans. And I mean, it really has changed my job though in a lot of ways. So we just got to be flexible and kind of go with it.
Yeah. This is kind of maybe like an interesting question, but I look up to Maddie Glab a lot because I know she's a multimedia journalist for the Bills. And like, have you ever worked with her?
Yep, I definitely have. So one thing I work with is our podcasts. So she does the Bills Pod Squad. I don't know if you are familiar with it.
Heard of it, yeah.
Okay, and if you're not, you should follow and subscribe to it.
Okay, I will.
Spotify, iTunes, it's like everywhere. Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, so I work with Maddie mostly just on that. I haven't worked with her a lot, to be honest with you, but I do work with her occasionally on the podcast. And I kind of help provide the numbers and like how it's doing. And the one episode, again, I don't know if you've listened, but they asked for fan questions. So I help to collect the questions and then get them to Maddie. So that is something
She does some on the Instagram stories then, right? Because I know
Yeah.
she does some. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Maddie's great. Yeah, I have worked with her. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Laston, do you have a question or two?
Well, you only work with a few. How's I wording this? So the Pagula Sports Entertainment has a very large number of things underneath it, assets, but you only work with 2 or 3 of them, right?
So actually, when I started here, I was just Sabres for a while, and then they have acquired a lot of assets since I started here. So I did work with just about all of them, to be honest with you. But lately, I'm focused on Bills and Sabres the most. Yeah.
Well, I was just curious if you knew anything about how they keep everything organized, or is it mainly separate between all the different organizations?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And we tried both ways, to be honest with you. And we, at one time, like I said, I was kind of doing all of them a little bit. And we found it's better to keep them more separate. So now it's a little bit more separate than it used to be. Yeah. It was just hard to keep track of everything. I'm sure you can imagine. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, 716 Food and Sport, the restaurant, or they have Healthy Scratch, and then they had tons of other assets and teams, and
that's so much.
It was just hard to keep track. Yeah, so now I'm focused on Bills and Sabres primarily. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a really good question, by the way.
I do have a question about you going through school. So I was wondering if you preferred going to St. John Fisher College to get your bachelor's degree more, or whether you enjoyed earning your master's at DePaul University more. I was kind of just wondering how the two achievements differed, and if you enjoyed one over the other.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I actually think I was only at the DePaul program for 1 year. I did a 1-year program, but I also went to classes in the summer. So it was 12 months of solid, that I actually think that experience looking back was better. Because I was in a new city, in Chicago, where Rochester still is kind of Western New York. So I got to meet a lot of new people and do a lot of networking. And I had an internship at the Chicago Tribune, which was awesome. And like I mentioned, the blog that I started with, like I did all of that in Chicago when I was in my apartment. So
Yeah.
I think my experience in Chicago was probably better looking back if I were to compare them.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would say too, if you guys ever get a chance to move out of the area, even just for temporarily and then come back, that's what I did.
Yeah.
I think it's something you should all consider because I think you learn a lot about yourself. You meet a lot of new people and you get great experience, and then you can always come home. So if you're ever thinking about that, or even for college, if you guys are thinking about going away or staying close to home, that's something to think about.
Okay. Thanks. Definitely. I'm trying to remember.
That's good. Sophie's trying to remember her question.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so were you offered the job for like that you have right now with the Sabres in the beginning, or was it more of like a connection thing that you had connections that it was easier?
No, it was definitely not a connections thing.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody at the Sabres. So I was really scared when I applied because I know how they always say, like, it's all about the connections. But I did get experience, like at Huffington Post, that I was like, hey, I do a lot of social media for Huffington Post, so I think I could do it for the Sabres. And I'm from Buffalo, and I love the Sabres, especially when I was younger, growing up, going to the games. So like I pitched to them, and to be honest with you guys, like they were not like that responsive. They're like, okay, great, thanks for your interest. But then like I was persistent. Like I emailed them like 3 or 4 more times, and I'm like, hey, like I really am interested. Like here's more info, or I don't know. And then I got that interview. So you just never know sometimes.
An experience mainly.
Yeah, mostly experience, I would say, is how I got it. Yeah, and like just being persistent, being like, hey, just following up. I haven't heard from you in a while. Whatever.
Good for you. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey guys, if I could butt in for a second, I just want to let you know that we're going to be coming back together at 11:40, so about 3 more minutes, and then we'll be back in the big room and send our guests off.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you may have touched base on it like earlier, but I was wondering, because I was going through your website, and I was wondering why you wanted to decide to start a blog. Was there something about blogging that was like really interesting to you or connected to your other interests?
I think back then, like the blogging was like the cool thing to do. Like it's a lot of people were just blogging. I think it's like now I hear a lot of people talking about podcasts and like it's cool to like have a podcast. Or it could even be a little bit like now it's cool to be on TikTok, like we were just talking about before. Like I don't know, like what if back then if I wanted to just be, if it was me back then now. Maybe
Yeah.
I just want to be like a TikTok influencer now, and it's all I spend all my time doing. Like, I think it was like a trend, if that makes sense, that I just wanted to jump on the trend.
I gotcha. That makes sense.
But it was interesting. I did think it was interesting. It wasn't like it was, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe one more. Anyway, I got one more question.
Yeah. I feel like I've said a lot. Andy, do you have anything?
No,
No.
not.
Lawson, Nathan, you have anything?
No.
No. All right. Well, then I have so many. I can pick up one more.
I have one, but I'm not sure how relative it is.
Give it a shot.
It's fine.
So I was just thinking about earlier when you're talking about like how you're reaching people on a global scale. How do you think or have you noticed new technologies in anonymity like VPNs affecting statistics in any drastic way, or is it like you don't really doesn't really matter?
I think now, if you were to do what I did now, I think it affects it more than it did then. I don't think it was as widespread, the technology, but now I think you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like with VPNs and stuff, you don't know if someone actually is in that location. But you can still reach people around the world, and I think that's the main thing with social media. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we have like a minute, but thank you so much for doing this with us. This
Yeah,
was
no
awesome.
problem. I hope that was helpful. Hope you guys do a great job with your studies.
Thank you. I mean, I love the Bills. Like my family has season tickets and we always go. And so like I've just become so interested and it's like maybe I want to work with them, like work alongside them someday. And so you told me that you were really involved in the Bills more than I thought you were. That was awesome. That was exciting for me.
Yeah, I thought it was mainly Sabres.
Yeah. we learned something new,
The Bills have been a lot of fun too. So,
especially as they're getting better.
yep. Exciting team right now.
Yes. All right. It
All right,
says this
thanks, guys.
in 10 seconds. All right. Thank you.
They-